side with Northeast Ohio's best coverage. This is News Channel 5.
Breaking news this noon, rescue teams are on the scene of a water rescue off Edgewater Beach. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michael Baldwin in for Leon Bibb. This is a live look from Edgewater, and here's what we know from our photojournalists now on the scene. A boat flipped over off of East 72nd Street Marina around 8 this morning. 3 men went into the water. A nearby boater picked up one of the men and took him to the Edgewater Marina, where an ambulance was waiting to take him to the hospital. Here's what a witness told us.
We started pulling the anchor. I heard help. I'm looking up, looking around. I just see red, the jackets, boat flipped in the distance.
The other 2 men were plucked from the water and taken to the hospital from East 72nd Street Marina. We're told the boat flipped when winds and waves picked up. We'll have updates later on the air and online on newsnet5.com. Right now, the East Coast is bracing for a superstorm dubbed Frankenstorm, and it could directly affect us here in Northeast Ohio. This storm is a mixture of several weather systems, including the remnants of Hurricane Sandy. ABC's Karen Travers looks at how utilities and governments are preparing for a weather monster.
The East Coast is on alert for a monster storm that could affect some 50 million people. Meteorologists are calling Sandy a once-in-a-lifetime event.
This is not being overhyped. I would use the terms devastating and historic, a 1-in-30-year storm.
The so-called Frankenstorm has weakened a bit and is now about 300 miles from Miami. Forecasters say the main effect in Florida will be tropical storm force winds along the coast and very strong surf. At the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, the world's largest in-water boat show, extra precautions have been taken to protect the super yachts worth billions of dollars.
We build this show to withstand tropical winds.
By early next week, Hurricane Sandy's likely to be a superstorm when it moves inland up the East Coast. The hurricane will then be hit with a blast of Arctic air, giving it more energy. And adding to the storm, forecasters say it will then be supercharged by the jet stream.
That's going to be the difference between a hurricane and a nor'easter. We're going to combine the two and have the worst characteristics of each.
By Monday, the storm is expected to go out to the Atlantic, then hook inland, making a turn somewhere between Washington, D.C. and New York, most likely in the Delmarva Peninsula. People who live along the coastline are getting ready.
I talked to a couple fishermen, and I kind of believe what they said, and they said they think it's going to be one of the worst storms in 10 years.
At least 22 people died as Hurricane Sandy blew through the Caribbean. It's being called the deadliest storm in Cuba since 2005. 11 people died there alone. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
All right, I'm here with Trent McGill. Trent, let me ask you this. I never heard of really a Frankenstorm. What's up with the name?
Well, think of Frankenstein. It's a mixture of a whole bunch of different things, and it makes one monster, I guess. Well, this is a mixture of Sandy, hurricane. When it moves closer to our region, more likely just what's left over of Sandy. So you have your tropical storm influence thrown into it, and we have a wintry weather type of influence as well. The cold front we're getting today will actually impact what we're seeing on with Sandy right now. This is Sandy right now. Throughout the rest of the weekend and into early next week, Sandy's center will stay off the east shore, off the east coast. So we'll likely be seeing some impacts, whether it's tropical storm winds, rip currents, things like that along the east coast. But what gets really interesting right here, really important to us here in Northeast Ohio, is what happens early next week. Likely making a westward shift, but look how wide that fan goes. That's a large uncertainty in the exact direction of the center of this low pressure, the center of this spin. So whether it moves that further westward angle towards Northeast Ohio, that means we get a whole lot of rain and a whole lot of wind. If it stays further east, like moving up through New York, that means we can get in on a chance for a little bit of snowflake activity. So yeah, we got a big forecast coming up in just a little bit, and today we're tracking rain. Stick around, I'll let you know when you can expect the raindrops in your area.
All right, thanks, Trent. The presidential candidates continue to do what they can to help voters decide how to cast their ballots. Today, President Obama, fresh off a stop here in Cleveland last night, is doing interviews at the White House. Mitt Romney and running mate Paul Ryan will be at Hoover High School in North Canton tonight. The latest ABC News Washington Post poll puts Romney at 50%, President Obama at 47%. It is the first time Romney has hit the 50% mark. Romney was in Defiance, Ohio last night, endorsed by Meatloaf. He told supporters he's the candidate of change.
We're going to elect a president that's willing to make big changes, and I will. I'll get this country growing again with your help.
After 37 hours in 8 states, the president arrived in dramatic style at Burke Lakefront Airport late last night.
I've come to Ohio today to ask you for your vote. I need you to vote early, and I need your help to keep moving America forward.
The president continues to go after young voters and women voters. The Romney Ryan event in North Canton starts at 7:15 tonight. We'll live stream that for you on NewsNet5.com. In continuing coverage, jurors in the Craigslist murder trial are now deliberating the murder case of teenager Brogan Rafferty. Rafferty is being tried as an adult and could face life in prison if convicted. He and Richard Beasley are accused of killing 3 men and shooting another man after they answered fake job postings on Craigslist. Both men have pleaded not guilty. Rafferty contends he went along with Beasley because he feared for his life as well as his family's. If you're looking for a job, you still have some time to check out a big career fair going on right now at Cleveland State University. The Cleveland Clinic, Cleveland Metropolitan School District, Energizer Battery are just a few of the companies at the fair today. It's being held in the Woodling Gym until 2 this afternoon, and it's not just for college students, anyone looking for a job.
The career fair is a perfect opportunity for those qualified candidates looking for co-op, internships, and full-time opportunity.
All right, if you go, bring your resumes and, dress appropriately. All right. Another movie shot here in Cleveland hits the big screens today. Fun Size opens in theaters nationwide. It's a Halloween comedy starring Victoria Justice. Scenes were shot in local neighborhoods including Lakewood, Cleveland Heights, Beechwood, and Collinwood. In the movie, Justice searches the city for her little brother who got lost on Halloween. And we just learned that actor-director Emilio Estevez will shoot a movie about harness racing in the Cincinnati area. It's called Johnny Longshot, and filming is set to start in January. No other details are being released quite yet. Hogs on the highway? You think deer are a problem? See where hogs are causing motorists headaches coming up. He weighs 77 pounds. Find out why this heavy dachshund is now embroiled in a bitter controversy over how he's being prepared around the town. We'll be back in just a few minutes. I wouldn't say that out loud, man.
You're real casual.
All right, you said not Statue of Liberty. We're doing Statue of Liberty. After 206, okay. 208 is dead. Thank you. Another suicide bombing in Afghanistan today has killed at least 36 people and injured 24 more. Officials say people were gathering at a mosque in northern Afghanistan to celebrate a Muslim holiday when the suicide bomber blew himself up in the crowd. The casualties included police officers and soldiers. The blast came as Afghanistan's president urged the Taliban to stop killing other Afghans. A senator and one-time presidential candidate George McGovern will be laid to rest today. The funeral for McGovern is set for this afternoon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. McGovern died Sunday at the age of 90. He served South Dakota in the House and the U.S. Senate for more than 2 decades. McGovern was the Democratic nominee for president in 1972, but he lost Richard Nixon in a landslide. Now, earlier this week, we told you the nation's fastest highway opened in Texas. Speed limit 85 miles an hour. But already, there's a problem. The highway runs through ranch country from Austin to San Antonio, and already there have been several accidents because of the wild hogs in the area who, like deer, come from out of nowhere onto the road. So far, there are no plans to reduce the speed limit, which police say still wouldn't help the situation. The Statue of Liberty reopens to visitors this weekend, just in time for the 126th anniversary of the U.S. landmark. The statue has been closed since last October for renovation to its interior. The $30 million renovation includes replacing the stairs to the crown and making them less steep. And for the first time, people in wheelchairs can visit the observation level thanks to the addition of a lift. We'll be right back. Former Senator George Voinovich paid tribute to his daughter today in the same manner he always does every year. 33 years ago, Molly Voinovich was hit by a van and killed while walking to Oliver Hazard Perry Elementary School in Cleveland. Since then, Voinovich and his wife have donated to the school and another in her honor. This year, they presented a check to Riverside Elementary School. There's some hope for people with colon cancer. A new study shows that taking aspirin can extend the life of some people who have this cancer. Researchers looked at more than 900 patients with colorectal cancer. They found those who have tumors had mutation in a key gene lived significantly longer after taking aspirin. However, patients who did not have the gene mutation in their tumors did not seem to benefit from aspirin. Generic drugs can often save you a lot of money over name brand pharmaceuticals, but as On Your Side consumer advocate Jen Straffman uncovered, prices of some generics have skyrocketed over the past few years. Now, you may not notice if you have full health coverage, but those who have to pay out-of-pocket costs, they've seen the prices skyrocket.
Patrick Gunn is getting a headache trying to treat it. His migraine medication costs are skyrocketing.
Each time I went back, it seemed to go higher. So the first time, the out-of-pocket was like $9. The second time I went back, it was $12. Then finally, it went for a couple months where I was good, didn't need anything. I went back and it had gone up to $40.
Similar problem for John Popow. His costs were fluctuating wildly.
$100 a tube to $5 a tube.
In the last year, several generic medications spiked in price. Nystatin is a popular skin rash medication. It tripled. This anti-inflammatory increased 5,000%. It was $650, now it's $293. One reason for the skyrocketing prices, fewer generic drug manufacturers.
There's one or two manufacturers remaining, and then their price would thus go up exponentially.
Insured patients may not have noticed the difference, but that doesn't mean you won't pick up the cost.
Eventually, the price of the insurance might go up to either the company or the individual.
If you need to buy a pricey generic out of pocket and can't afford it, talk with your pharmacist. Many will call your doctor and switch you to a cheaper alternative, or switch pharmacies. The North Coast Health Ministry in Lakewood helped John find a new one.
Dr. Tomsik looked up and was able to actually look and see what was the cheaper place for me to go, as a patient.
Another option is to contact the pharmaceutical company directly. They may offer a 30-day free trial or a small discount on the price for a limited time. On Your Side, Jen Strathman, News Channel 5.
An increasing number of people without prescription drug coverage are also taking potentially dangerous measures to save money on health care. Consumer Reports found 2/3 put off a doctor's visit or declined a medical test because of costs, while others reported cutting pills in half to save money, but that lowers their effectiveness. A big day in the tech world. Microsoft is launching Windows 8, and Apple begins taking pre-orders for its new iPad mini. The new Microsoft operating system is touch-enabled and replaces the company's nearly 3-decade-old PC operating system. The company's new tablet, called Surface, also goes on sale today. Apple's new mini iPad has an 8-inch screen and sells for $329. It will be on store shelves November 2nd. Now to the big custody fight over a dog named Obie, the dieting Dachshund, who's become a social media sensation. An animal rescue group is going to court to take away Obie away from the woman who took him in. But ABC's Neil Karlinski reports she's not giving up without a fight.
There are fat pets, and then there's Obie.
Good job.
The 5-year-old dachshund tips the scales at a whopping 77 pounds. He's so chubby, he has to wear a harness to keep it all from dragging. Nora Venata says she agreed to temporarily adopt him to help with his weight, but she quickly fell in love and realized others were interested too.
Hi, Obie!
Hey, Obie! She's traveled the country with Obie to make TV appearances and even set up a Facebook page. It now has more than 66,000 followers.
People came to see Obie, and Obie was inspiring them to lose weight. Talk to us.
He's now the center of a bitter custody dispute in an Oregon court. The agency claiming to be his owner, Oregon Dachshund Rescue, says that Obie's foster mom is exploiting him for his incredible girth. In court filings, the agency claims Obie is being wrongfully held by the defendant, who is exploiting the dog for the sensationalistic promotional value of its unusual obesity. Translation? They want the dog back because they think Venata is trying to get famous and pocket the donations that are now flowing in.
And the money just sits there because he may need to have surgery to have this excess skin removed.
Venata says Obie has already lost 15 pounds and is doing better. So who gets him? A judge will decide on Monday when Obie goes to court. Neil Karlinski, ABC News, Seattle.
All right, Trent, I'm going to skip over the weight talk, something I've been battling for a little while now. Anyway, what I want to know about is the weather, man. It was 80 degrees the other day. I mean, what happened?
Right. Yesterday, we were approaching record-level heat. Now it's raining outside downtown. Take a look at this this shot right here of our all-new Ohio eCheck Skycam. There's it looks like it's a little foggy out there, a little hazy, and there's raindrops on the camera. So, yeah, what a difference 24 hours makes. Yesterday afternoon at this time, we were talking about the sunshine and the warmth. Now it's all raindrops and much cooler weather. And with all this talk about the next entire week with raindrops, I guess it couldn't wait a little bit longer. So here we go. We're tracking rain right now. Let's take a look at this. We have a lot of weather going on over the next several days. First off, Sandy will be slowly making her way up the East Coast. And as that happens, we'll be watching this trough, this low pressure system, and the cold front associated with it will slowly make its way closer to Sandy. And as those combine together, will likely cause a lot of hectic weather across the region right around here. And that includes us here in Northeast Ohio. But before we talk about all of that, we talked about it a little bit earlier, I want to talk about this cold front that we're dealing with right now. Here's the cold front that's pushing through 76 in Charleston, 48 in Detroit, 42 in Green Bay, much cooler behind it, and there's rain right along or right behind this actual cold front. So we just showed you a live look outside, raindrops on the what is that, on the camera, on our Skycam. So yeah, you'll see a few raindrops. This is just some light rain, even right over downtown Cleveland. We're seeing a few light showers. This is all in front of this evening's rain, which will be holding off, just ready to get into the Sandusky region right now. But this is just some light rain. If you have any lunchtime plans, any early afternoon plans, you might need to run your wipers a couple times as you're driving around. But for the most part, this will likely push out and stay light. But this is what I'm watching for this afternoon and evening. By 2 o'clock, we'll be watching a little more widespread steady rain making its way into Lorain County, even into back towards Richland and Ashland counties, right along that I-71 corridor. Now, as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon, we'll be watching this slowly spread eastward. Overnight tonight, this will continue to just give us rain. So likely most of your football games this evening will be on the soggy side. Make sure you bring in the jackets because cooler air is settling in, and the umbrellas because that rain will be sticking around. Look at this, all throughout overnight tonight into your day tomorrow. That system I was talking about just holds steady right over Northeast Ohio, so we have rain for quite a while. 50 degrees in Ashland right now, 67, almost 70 in New Philadelphia. So this is that cold front. There's the cooler air. Norwalk, 48 degrees. So we'll be watching the cooler air filtering in the rest of the day today. Watch that just rush of cooler air. And there's no return of warmth through the entire weekend. Most of us won't even see 50s after we get out of the 50s today. So for the Saturday and Sunday, we're likely to stay on the cooler side. So here we go. Here's your forecast today. 52 degrees. Well, with cooling temperatures, we already hit our highs for the day today. We'll see that cooler air settling in. Quick look at your football forecast. Grab the rain gear. That's all I can say. We'll be in the 40s by the time those football games kick off. Upper 40s, but 40s nonetheless. We'll drop into the low 40s overnight tonight with rain still spreading through Northeast Ohio, and that'll linger through much of your Saturday, likely to be still dealing with those rain showers. Some of us might hit that 50-degree mark. Most of us, though, right there in the upper 40s. Similar forecast for Sunday, just not as much rain. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's when we'll have to deal with the whole Frankenstorm talk. Likely to see winds gusting to 50 miles per hour once we get closer to Tuesday, along with rain and a potential for some snowflakes. We'll talk more about that, and you better believe it as it gets closer. We'll be back.